Hey everybody, it's Charlie. A whole bunch of websites are now reporting on this Avengers trailer that was posted to Reddit, so I'll do a breakdown of that, but after I do, I'll talk about what parts I think are more plausible than others, because the way it describes some of the teams is relatively plausible, and the way it describes where some of the characters show up seem to corroborate what we've seen in behind-the-scenes photos. So some of it sounds a little more outlandish than other parts. There's a new round of that Spider-Man PS4 game giveaway too. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. I'll name a new winner at the end of this. So it says the trailer starts off showing a damaged Infinity Gauntlet in a field on Thanos' farm from the end of Infinity War, that planet where he ended the movie. The camera pushes in on the damaged gauntlet and you hear Tony Stark's voiceover, "We were destined to lose." Then they start the big epic music score. A Quinjet lands in Wakanda, which is described as looking kind of like a wasteland since the end of Infinity War. Captain America says, "We've come so far." Tony and Nebula step off the Quinjet as the remaining Avengers approach. Steve has a look of relief and says, "Tony," nods, as if they've kind of made up a little bit. Iron Man is still emotionally broken after the events of Infinity War, but he manages a smirk back at Cap to acknowledge him. The Marvel logo flashes, and you get a glimpse of the Battle of New York from the original Avengers movie. You see the older version of Loki from the events of that movie on top of Tony Stark's tower, looking really surprised in a moment where he was not originally surprised during that movie. There's a flash of blue light, they cut to black, then you see the Wakandan throne room after the events of Infinity War in the future. M'Baku is now king, not Shuri, Black Panther. She hasn't ascended to the throne. He's got a brand new Kingsguard that's a mixture of his hill tribe with the Dora Milaje, so it looks a little bit different, like they've combined their cultures together. Shuri and Banner are in Shuri's lab working on a new project, which is probably the reason why she hasn't ascended to the throne. Then in that same future timeline, they cut to Hawkeye's farm. You see Black Widow there in full battle gear, and I think that's just to show that everybody's all broken up. They haven't completely come back together yet. You see Black Widow looking at a map with a bunch of locations and pins on it. You see a really quick shot of Thanos with that sword that we've seen in concept art walking down an alleyway in New York City. They don't say whether it's happening in present day or in the past during the Battle of New York. They cut to a different scene of Hawkeye in full Ronin gear with glowing eyes aiming a bow and arrow before he shoots at the camera. You cut to a couple different shots of the quantum realm. Then they cut to a different shot of Scott Lang just in regular civilian clothing running through a park dodging explosions. Then they cut to a scene in outer space with Thor and Valkyrie on board a Kree ship. Thor says, "If the stories are true, you're our universe's last hope." They don't say who he's talking to, but I think the idea is that he's talking to Captain Marvel. Then they cut to a scene of an older version of Iron Man walking through the hallways in the Avengers facility, which is also doubling as a new SHIELD base, holding a special orange briefcase. Think Pulp Fiction briefcase, like what's in the briefcase, something really special. But also there have been some behind-the-scenes pictures with him in SHIELD gear, so it also implies that he reformed SHIELD since what happened during Winter Soldier, because thus far it hasn't really existed in the MCU for a while. There's a shot of Banner, not Hulk, wearing the spandex suit that we've seen him in the concept art, running from something looking terrified. He hasn't changed into the Hulk, but in all the concept art, he is the Hulk in that spandex suit. They cut to a shot of Ant-Man appearing out of a flash of light in this really desolate place. There's a shot from his first-person perspective, not sure where he is, freaking out. Then the camera focuses on Vormir, where the Soul Stone was during Infinity War. And the description isn't really specific about where it looks like he is, if he actually does land on Vormir, or if he lands somewhere else. Then they just include a shot of Vormir, and it looks kind of misleading. Then you cut back to a scene of Rocket and Nebula modifying some new weapons in a lab. Rocket says, "When can we try this bad boy out?" They smile at each other and fist bump. It seems weird that Nebula would fist bump someone. Karen Gillan said that she made a special new friend during Avengers 4. Maybe that special new friend winds up being Rocket. But we get our first glimpse of Iron Man in the red gold nanotech armor, the classic armor that we saw concept art of a little while ago. I've already done a video about that. Hulk falls from the sky, lands in front of him, and it seems like they're on a battlefield because it cuts to a shot of Thanos in full armor smiling. Hulk smiles back as if it's time for their rematch. Then they cut to a different shot back in Japan. War Machine, Black Widow, and Captain America in full Avengers gear are surrounded by the Yakuza. Hawkeye in his Ronin gear, making it seem like he's working with the Yakuza, not against them. They cut back to a shot in the Sanctum with Wong communicating with Doctor Strange's soul via some sort of portal. Either he's inside the soul gem, which is actually something from the Infinity Gauntlet comic book. If that actually does turn out to be true, I'll talk a little bit more about it. They cut to a scene in the future of an older, gray-haired Tony Stark and Ant-Man in a post-apocalyptic New York City wasteland. The screen flashes back and forth multiple times through different scenes. We see Captain Marvel floating with her fists all lit up with energy like we saw during her trailer a little while ago. Her eyes are lit up. There's a shot of Thanos inside the soul world of the Soul Gem with that young version of Gamora screaming at him. Then there's a shot of Loki and Thor back during the Battle of New York fighting the Chitauri together. Then there's a shot of Iron Man handing Captain America the new version of his prototype shield that he was making during Homecoming, but they're inside the Wakandan throne room. Get that man a shield. Then they cut back to a different shot of Iron Man and Ant-Man. Ant-Man walks up to him while he's holding this orange briefcase. Iron Man is confused and says, "How was this even possible?" Then you see the two of them traveling through the quantum realm. They arrive back during the Battle of New York during 2012. Then supposedly the last shot before the big title reveal is a close-up of Thanos' damaged gauntlet, the melted one, with one of the gems disappearing. It doesn't say which gem, but it's implied because they're back during the Battle of New York that it'll probably be the Space Stone. But we'll talk about that in a second, because the title reveal says that the title is Avengers Annihilation. So I know there's all kinds of rumors about what the title is. Take that with a grain of salt. I will talk about the stuff from this that I think is the most plausible and stuff that I think is bullcrap. But then supposedly there's a stinger at the end of the trailer where it's Hulk training in that new S.H.I.E.L.D./Avengers base with Black Widow and Captain America. The description reads that Captain America is noticing Hulk's been training non-stop, like hardcore, like what's going on? He asks him, why are you training so hard? And while he's in Hulk form, he speaks with Banner's voice saying, my rematch is coming real soon, I can feel it. That seems like it's designed to be their Spider-Man, Captain America shield, oh my god moment, like, oh my god, it's the Hulk and he's talking like Banner. Does that mean he's gonna be crazy powerful in this movie? Because there was the other part of the description that read that he's in that special unitard getting ready to fight Thanos on a battlefield. There have been a couple of behind-the-scenes shots that corroborate some parts of this description, but you really do have to take it with a grain of salt because it implies some heavy time travel in Avengers stealing Infinity Stones from different parts of the timeline. The stuff about Iron Man being in charge of a slightly new version of S.H.I.E.L.D. seems a little bit more legit because we've seen him walking around in S.H.I.E.L.D. gear. The part about them featuring the older version of Loki from the Battle of New York sounds legit because we've seen pictures of him on set in that original uniform. All the stuff with Black Widow, with Ronan Hawkeye, seem to jive with what we've heard about scenes that they've been filming. The scenes with Thor meeting up with Captain Marvel, trying to get her help, seem to jive with what we've heard about that. Really, like, the biggest thing in here, though, the biggest question mark, is the question of time travel. Like, I could believe that M'Baku would ascend the throne because Shuri wants to spend all of her time researching something quote-unquote special that will help them fix things with Banner. But again, giant grain of salt for all this, especially for the title. Sometimes the reason why you see descriptions like these early on and only parts of them wind up being true is because of the way Marvel makes their trailers. What'll happen is that Marvel and other studios will subcontract to trailer houses, which are like special groups of people that do nothing but edit trailers for big Hollywood studios. But in order to make those trailers, the studio, like Marvel, has to give them some footage from the movie. So the trailer houses are cutting these trailers way before the Russos have ever finished the movie. So the trailer that the trailer house makes, even if Marvel likes it and wants to release it, might not reflect the actual plot of the movie when everything is said and done. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this idea of them traveling through the quantum realm, going back in time literally, and stealing Infinity Stones? That was a rumor early on. We'll see if it pans out. But what'll happen is I got a couple more videos coming today. New Daredevil, there'll be some new Spider-Man postings soon, so just check that top pinned comment for my video schedule. Congratulations, Noah Cool. You're the giveaway winner from my last big Marvel video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Click here to watch Chris Evans talk about the plot of Avengers 4, and click here to learn all about Spider-Man during Phase 4 and the Venomverse spin-off.